राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया।
योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी
Rama 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 Rama. Bhagavan Shri Yogi Ram Surat Kumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ram Surat Kumaran Paramastu. It's grace in the beginning, grace in the middle, and grace in the end. That's what life is all about. To get to know this grace, that how it is behind us, invisibly, doing its great work. From moment to moment to moment. And with deep gratitude, we have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagavan in celebration of this grace that we experience every day, every moment. His presence, His grace. They say God, Guru and grace are one and the same. Now, there is the right knowledge of the divine and there is wrong knowledge of the divine. Now, the right knowledge is wonderful and is to be experienced, but the wrong knowledge can lead to wrong conclusions and can misguide us to do wrong things. Now, this threat is there in both Jnana Marga and Bhakti Marga. We call it Viparita Jnana. Generally, it can also mean a reversed knowledge. It can mean a wrong knowledge. There is a story which tells us clearly what this wrong knowledge can do. There were 4 Pandits with their knowledge of the scriptures. They prided themselves in the knowledge of the scriptures, and they were all going to one place, a far-off place, and in those days there were no restaurants on the way. Even the way was not very clear or smooth. They had to go through many forests. So they always carried their food in their hand. So also these 4 people carried their food. And finally, the time came for them to rest for a while. So they kept their food down under a tree. And then they felt very hungry, but because they were Pandits, one of them said, "We must have a bath before taking food. So we shall keep one person in charge of this food, and the other 3 would take a dip in the nearby stream and come back, and then the 4th one can go." They all agreed happily, and then one Pandit stayed back the other three went and had a dip. In the meantime, the Pandit who was watching the food felt very hungry. They were all hungry and tired. So he was feeling very hungry, so hungry that he could not help taking the food that was his share. He thought, okay, it was gripping him, the hunger, and he could not help, he could not think of the Shastras, the scriptures, nor those people who had gone to take it. It was getting late for them to come. So how long to wait? So finally, tempted, he took the food. That was his share. But then the hunger continued. He felt no satisfaction. And then suddenly he eyed the other three, and then he thought, okay, he didn't think. When they say hunger comes, all the values we hold dear to our heart would disappear. Now, true to that, this man, feeling so hungry, took the second man's food also and ate up. But still the hunger continued. Now he stopped thinking at all completely, and he took the third man's food, and then the fourth. He finished all the four completely without leaving anything for his friends. And he felt very sleepy now, the heavy food, a full stomach. He fell asleep. Now those three returned after they dipped in the stream and looked for their food. They had all disappeared into his stomach. Now they were wonderstruck. They were baffled, and then they soon understand that this man must have eaten up the whole thing. They woke him up, but it was not easy. But somehow they shook him into wakefulness and then asked. Now the man, the Pandit, who ate up all the four share, had to agree that he had gobbled it up. And then he quoted a sloka, because they were all well versed in the scriptures. He quoted one sloka from the Bhagavad Gita, and that is, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhuta. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. Meaning, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am that fire in the stomach that digests all the four kinds of food. What are the four kinds? We chew the food well and then get it down. And the second one is sometimes we have to lick the food. And the third, we drink the food. And then the fourth one is we simply swallow it. These are the four kinds. The food that's meant for swallowing, the food that's meant for licking now, and the food that's meant for chewing, etc. Now, Krishna says, I am the fire in the stomach which can digest all these foods. Now this Pandit took advantage of the sloka and misquoted, saying, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. Now the three other Pandits got wild. This fellow not only had eaten their share of food, but was also very cool, quoting Bhagavad Gita, as though he was Lord Krishna himself. Now they took a long stick from the nearby tree, and then quoted another sloka from the second chapter, which says, Nainam Chintanti, meaning Atma. He was saying he was Lord Krishna, who the Agni of the fire of the stomach. So these people are saying, if you are Lord Krishna, you must be Parabrahman. You must be the Supreme God. A Supreme God is Atman. It cannot be cut by a knife. And water, the rain, cannot wet it. Nor can the wind dry it. Nor can the fire burn it. This is the Atman, because Atman is pure consciousness. How can anybody cut consciousness with a knife? How can water or rain wet consciousness? How can fire burn consciousness? And how can wind dry up consciousness? So they quoted the sloka and started to beat him up violently. Now the man understood that he could not misquote, because when you think Aham Brahmasmi, I am that, I am the pure Atman, you may be practicing it, but it does not suit the practical life. If you think that you are Brahman, then you should not bother if a murderer should come with a knife and put it into you. Because an Atman cannot be cut off, only the body. So you don't mind if the body is cut off with a knife. And similarly, if you are not the body, you are only the pure Atman, the pure consciousness, the rain cannot wet you, fire cannot burn you. So if somebody should put fire on your body alone is burning. Why should you bother? You are the Atman. You cannot be burnt by fire. So you see, if you claim to be that pure consciousness and try to apply to the practical situations of life, then this is what happens. That's also another story which we had shared some time back, that the master was teaching the students that you are not the body. You are that pure consciousness, that pure awareness. You are the all-pervasive consciousness, all-pervasive Parabrahman. The students listened with rapt attention, and then one of the students had to bring some milk from a far-off place, and he had to go through the forest for that. So as he was walking through the forest, he saw a mad elephant running towards him. The mahout who was controlling the elephant was unable to do it, but he was shouting, "Move away, move away. There's a mad elephant coming. Move away. Otherwise you'll be killed." But this student thought, oh, only yesterday the teacher thought that everything is Brahman. I'm also Brahman. This elephant is also Brahman. And then he would not listen to the mahout, stood there right at the path, and what happened? The elephant Brahman came and very violently took this man in his trunk and threw him down with such violence that many bones got broken in the body. He felt very bad, that he thought the Guru did not teach him well. Why would this happen? And then somehow he managed to drag himself back to this Guru's place and complained, Gurudev, you taught us yesterday that we are all Atman, we are all that pure consciousness. And today when I was walking, the elephant attacked, in spite of my thinking that I was Brahman and the elephant was Brahman. It came and attacked me. Just see in what condition I am because of your teaching. The Guru smiled. My dear boy, when the elephant was coming, the mad elephant was running towards you, didn't the Mahout warn you? Don't you think that Mahout is also Brahman? Why didn't you listen to him? And that's when the student realized the flaw in practice of this philosophy. Because limited as we are, we apply the principle because we assume it is not yet our truth, it is not yet our experience, so we are likely to misinterpret, and then we think we apply it to only some of the objects. We don't apply it to every object. He thought the elephant was Brahman, he himself was Brahman, but then he forgot to think that the Mahout was also Brahman, and whatever Mahout said, he had to obey, he had to follow for his own safety. This is called Viparita Jnana, because we don't understand the teaching in its full spirit. So when we practice it, there can be a flaw here and there, because of which we'll end up in suffering. So always, we must learn the truth and then practice it only to the extent possible. And it's very difficult to practice Aham Brahmasmi, that I am that. I am that pure consciousness. I am that pure awareness. It's a truth. It's the highest truth. It's the only truth. But we live in the world of Maya, bound by Maya, with our limited brain and understanding. We cannot practice it in the right spirit of the philosophy. So that is why it's very important that we understand whatever the Guru teaches in the spirit he taught. Otherwise, this kind of wrong knowledge would get us into trouble. So let us remember, for example, in the Bhakti Marga, they say that everything happens by God's will. Everything happens only by God's will. So a murderer can use this philosophy to his advantage and say, after murdering somebody, oh, it's by God's will that it happened. I'm not responsible for it. Okay, by the same God's will, the police would come and catch him and may hang him, may give him any severe punishment. Then he should know even that happens by God's will and accept it. So you see, it's very difficult to practice this. So when we practice this, we must do it in the right spirit of the statement. So just because everything is God's will, you don't get the right to do the wrong things. If you do so, then by the same God's will, you have to face the consequences of your doings. So let us learn the simplest practice is to chant the name, and while chanting, to remember that the deity is present instantly, and that our personal God is watching us and that He knows our prayers, our struggles, our thoughts. So you have to call out the name and know that He is instantly present, even though you may not be sensitive enough to detect His presence. But He is present and He knows you. So whether it is Bhakti Marga or Jnana Marga, whether it is practice of Aham Brahmasmi, or everything is God's will, either way, unless you understand it in the right spirit in which it is said, until it becomes our experience, until it becomes our truth by experience, we have to be very careful while practicing these ideas. We shall now offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, we beg you again and again, a million times, for your immediate divine intervention to bring forward a dharmic normalcy, to change the way of the world. And that is possible only for you. The world is full of violence now and growing enmity between people, and there's already the war going on with all its disastrous consequences. And there is the attacks of cruel diseases, sudden attacks. And again the violence of nature, flash floods and forest fire and whatnot. Bhagavan, we beg you to bring in peace, harmony, order, unity, growing friendship and brotherhood, mutual understanding and help. And we beg you again to see that the diseases are under control and the violence of nature too. And Bhagavan, we make a special prayer that the war should stop completely and there should be peace. We also beg you to uproot all the asuric thoughts from our human minds, which are in fact responsible for today's world. We beg you again to reach out to those people who have been stranded in varied parts of the world for some reason or the other due to their past karma, unable to get help or protection. Please reach out to them and do the needful. We also pray to you to help and protect all those unselfish people who have been struggling hard for the welfare of the others from unhealthy criticisms and aspersion. We beg you again to give a boost to the economy of the country and to promote the growth in varied fields of activity so that India would reach that high status of world teacher and conduct the whole world in the path of Dharma. Bhagavan, we pray to you that you bless us to chant your powerful name ceaselessly, and that with devotion and faith. We also beg you to bless us to remember, to bring to our mind again and again your leelas and teachings so that we can assimilate it and make it our Atma Shakti. Please bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands, and please bless us to run our everyday life as an offering to you. Bhagavan, please bless us not to be tempted by the snares of Maya. We seek that ultimate blessing, that ultimate peace and bliss, independent of any object or any person. But then we need to be purified. Our mind still has the vasanas that often they shoot up in the form of a killer fear, poisonous anger, and kama, passion, jealousy, sorrow, self-pride, and growing desires for worldly possessions. They are all dirt, and they are very stubborn. Only Nama can clear them out. The powerful Nama has the power to destroy the past sins, and when the past sins are destroyed, the vasanas will go away. Or the obstacles created by the vasanas will go away. So please bless us for the joyful, continuous chanting of your name. We also take refuge in joyful service to you, wherever we live, whichever part of the world. Whatever work falls into our hand, if you look upon it as your work, because the whole cosmos belongs to you, and any work in this cosmos is your work. So if you do it in the bhava, that it is your work that we are doing, so we are doing seva to you, and that in the spirit of surrender, without any unhealthy competition or jealousy, then all this will become Atma Shakti. And Bhagavan, please bless us to practice acceptance. Acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow. Coming from you, they can only be blessings, great blessings, meant for our spiritual progress. Because unless we get into difficulties, we would not turn to God at all. So, even adversity is a blessing in disguise. As we get more and more purified, we should be able to detect that living, vibrant presence of God everywhere and in everything. Bhagavan, please bless us to know that it is your will that's behind all the happenings of life. And Bhagavan, please bless us to detect that hidden grace even in the most ruinous experiences of our lives. When we are attacked by some past karma, we resent you and we blame you that you have let us down. We blame every other person for our failures. We try to move away from you. But you, out of your love and generosity, will keep us again at your feet and convert all our difficulties into great blessings. Please bless us to be grateful to you all the time. We also seek your powerful blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of being they are, whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek liberation from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, and the root cause of which is only the tyranny of ego, the I and mine, that rule all our lives. Bhagavan, please bless us to be free from that. Please bless us with that immortal life, that eternal living and eternal servitude to you, the eternal supreme divinity. Jai Yogiram Sarat Kumar.